because I'm not an expert. I'm just like you. I'm a student learning about these channels. So bear with me as I read through this Web That Has No Weaver book, which I recommend for some more information on the channels. We'll be getting started right now. So for today's practice, really, you don't need anything except maybe your blanket. So if you want your blanket, just have it nearby. You might not even need it. And we're going to start in a seated position. We're going to be starting on our knees and taking a toe squat. So today we're working on the Pericardium Meridian and the Triple Burner Meridian. It doesn't have anything to do with the feet, but I wanted to do the toe squat with it because it's amazing. I know you love it. So we'll come into hands and knees or tabletop, and then you'll sit back on your heels, tuck the toes under, sit back on the heels, and we'll start here. So we're going to take the right hand out like you're saying stop, and take your left hand, pull all the fingers back toward your face. So make sure you get that thumb in there and the pinky, and you're pulling those fingers back and you're straightening the arms. Okay, try to relax the muscles around the wrist and that forearm on the right hand. And try to notice your breath. See if you can imagine your breath going into any deep sensations that you're feeling in the body, maybe sensations in that wrist and forearm, maybe sensations in your feet. If it becomes too much on your feet, you can always untuck the toes and sit back on the heels, or you can sit back on blocks there or a cushion. So this pericardium meridian is kind of like the protector of our heart. So it has to do with the heart. Its paired meridian is the triple burner. And I'll talk about those in a minute once I'm able to get out of this pose and look at a book. We'll be here for about 10 more breaths. Try to breathe in the nose and out the nose. And then point the fingers down and pull the fingers toward you. So now you're pushing, you're working onto the top of the wrist here. Still straightening that right arm. Untuck the toes, sit back on the heels if you need a little break. About 5 more breaths on this side. And release and roll out that wrist. Notice how you feel. You can come to tabletop, tuck the toes or untuck the toes, the opposite of what you just did, and just tap the feet. All right, and then we're going to tuck the toes again, sit back on the heels or untuck. If you need a break, you can always take a block or a cushion or something and sit back on that. We'll take the left hand out, like we're saying stop, and then pull those fingers back with your right hand. Breathe here. Noticing any deep sensations? Yeah, let's. Remember, in Yin Yoga, we come to our first edge of resistance. So if that means you're barely pulling your fingers back and that's enough sensation for you, then you stay there. This practice is all about sensation. It's not about what you look like. So don't try to make your body look like mine. Don't try to make your shape or pose look like mine or anybody else's. It's all about what you're feeling in the body. I can think of a lot of other poses to do for these two meridians, and I'll be exploring some more tomorrow, but I'll give you more ideas tomorrow of whatever I can't fit into the class so that you can practice this at home. These meridians, these postures can help with anxiety, if you're having trouble breathing because of anxiety or stress. So I'll show you a pressure point for that in a little bit as well. So if you do suffer from those things, you can try doing these postures every day. Just incorporate them into your routine when you're watching TV or reading or you're cooking and you're waiting for your food to be finished. You can do these postures. And take the fingers pointing down and then pull the fingers toward you, pushing the wrist away, straightening that arm. Try to relax the shoulder. Try to relax the muscles in that left arm as much as you can. I'll read this to you while we're here in this posture. The Pericardium Meridian, beginning in the chest and in its pertaining organ, the pericardium. This meridian descends through the diaphragm to link the upper, middle, and lower portions of the triple burner. A second internal branch of the meridian crosses the chest, emerging to the surface at the area of the ribs. The meridian then ascends around the armpit and continues down the medial aspect of the upper arm to the elbow crease. It runs further down the forearm to the palm of the hand, ending at the tip of the middle finger. A short branch splits off from the palm to connect with the triple burner meridian at the end of the ring finger. All right, let's release there. Roll out the wrists. Come to hands and knees and tap the toes or untuck the toes and tap, whatever feels best. And then we'll come onto our bottom. And we'll take seated swan. So from here, you're resting back on your hands and then cross the left foot, the left ankle on top of the right thigh. Okay, so it's kind of like just seated swan or seated pigeon. And we're resting back here on our wrists. And this is really great for the elbows and the wrists. You can really press the chest out, squeeze the shoulder blades together, let the head hang back for more of a yang approach. Or you can rest the chin to the chest and kind of relax the chest a little bit for more of a yin approach. So the triple burner meridian beginning at the outside tip of the ring finger. The triple burner meridian proceeds over the back of the hand and wrist to the forearm. It runs upward, passing around the outer elbow, along the lateral aspect of the upper arm to reach the posterior shoulder region. From here, the meridian travels over the shoulder and enters into the chest underneath the breastbone. An internal branch passes from this point to the pericardium, penetrates the diaphragm, and then proceeds downward to unite with the upper, middle, and lower burners. Another exterior branch ascends toward the shoulder and runs internally up the neck. It reaches the posterior border of the ear, and then interiorly circles the face. A short branch originates behind the ear, penetrates the ear, and emerges in front of the ear to reach the outer end of the eyebrow and connect to the gallbladder meridian. You can even push that left knee away from you a little bit more. You can walk that right foot away from you for less sensation in the hips. Bring it closer to your glutes for more sensation in the hips. Let's go ahead and release our feet, uncross your legs, sit up tall with your feet out in front, and then just bend and straighten your arms. Noticing that energy flowing out of the elbows. And that pressure point I was talking about earlier is right below the wrist, and this is on both sides of your arm, right below the wrist where that wrist crease is, right in the middle between those two tendons. So if you kind of wiggle your ring finger, you can kind of feel that second tendon. If it's hard to feel it, you can wiggle that, and it's in between there. So it kind of connects there down the middle finger. If you travel down the middle finger to the bottom of that wrist crease, you put a pressure there with your thumb, and then on the very opposite side of your wrist, you can also put pressure in between those two tendons. You can stay here, maybe dig your nails into that like a little needle, almost like an acupuncture needle, where you can kind of massage the area for a few minutes, maybe up to 5 minutes. And you can do that on both sides, and that's supposed to help with anxiety. So let's take this on the other side. Bend the knees, cross the right ankle over the left thigh, and we'll come back into that seated swan. Another thing that can help with anxiety is, according to Chinese medicine, this is placing a cold pack, like an ice pack, on that pressure point that I just described on both sides. You can also place one on the back of the neck for about 5 minutes. And massaging that pressure point should bring some relief. So I'd love to hear anybody's experience with that who has anxiety or having trouble breathing due to anxiety. I'd love for you to comment and let me know if that works for you. So for the remainder of this pose, I'll just let you rest in silence. Enjoy the nice stretch and stress that we're placing on our joints and fascia. From here, we'll release that foot. Take the feet out in front. Bend and straighten slowly your elbows. Noticing that energy dissolving away out of those elbows. And then you can take your Shavasana, or I'll show you just one more posture if you'd like to do this on your own, because we're already out of time. You can take one arm behind your back, and you'll just rest that open palm to the ground on your back, your mid back. And then your other arm, your other hand will be palm to the back of the head, back of the skull. And you're just going to lie back. So you might have to roll into this. And you'll rest your head on that hand, and the other hand is behind your back. And you can just rest here for a few minutes. Just melting down, relaxing the shoulders. And in a few minutes, you can switch to the other side. Take 3 long, slow breaths. Stay here. You can switch to the other side, just switching the hands. Opposite hand behind your back, mid-back. Opposite hand behind your head. Relax down. Take some deep breaths. Unfortunately, I'm out of time already. So hopefully you can do that on your own. Take a few more minutes for yourself. Take a Shavasana. Take time to rest. And I will see you tomorrow for day 12. Thanks for joining me today. Namaste.